Hello everyone and welcome to the Kiki London YouTube channel. My name's Amanda and in today's video we're going to be doing my own nails using the Kiki London Easy Build Up Gel, which is a builder gel in a bottle. I'm sure you've seen it used on the channel lots of times before. Now to start off, I did already have a builder gel set on my nails I've been wearing the last couple of weeks, so I removed them the night before I did this video, and I did a lot of the cuticle prep when I removed them. So if you want to see a dedicated prep video, I will leave that linked in the description box below. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom of the description box, there's a section that says recommended videos and I will link it there for you guys. So all I've done starting off today is wiped over my nails with one of the Kiki London alcohol pads. This is to cleanse and sanitize, so I would always do this at the start of doing anything on my own nails or if I was working on a client. Then because I've already done a lot of the cuticle prep, I'm going to jump straight in to filing the free edge of the nail. So I'm taking the 180 grit side of my file and just kind of neatening up the length. Where I have been wearing builder gel nails to try and grow out my nails a little bit more, I just want to neaten everything up a little bit and make sure the shape's a little bit more uniform. When I'm doing a builder gel set, I don't stress too much about getting the perfect shape because I shape them again once I've applied my builder gel. I more just want to get them all the sort of same uniform length. Then taking the 180 grit side of my file, I'm very gently etching the surface of the nail, just kind of removing the shine. You're not filing into the nail. I'm kind of going in circular motions, backwards and forwards in different directions, really gently, just to remove that surface shine. You can do this with your buffer if you don't fancy doing this with your file, and some people find this step completely optional as well, so don't stress if you don't do it. It looks a lot rougher because the video is sped up. Then I'm going to take the new Kiki London dust brush and remove all of the dust that filing has created. So you can see I'm just brushing over the nails and my hand just to make sure all of that dust has been removed. I'm really loving this dust brush, by the way. Then I'm going to come in with a fresh alcohol pad, and this time with this one I'm really going to scrub the nails. This is going to remove any oils on the nail and really dehydrate them, ready for our primer. So next up I have the Kiki London primer. Now the primer is air drying. You do only need to apply a small amount and you want to avoid getting this on your cuticles or the skin. I really do find a little bit goes a long way, so I just brush over the nail. And then this will completely air dry fairly quickly. By the time you've done all of your nails and come in with your base coat, it will be dry. And as you can see, the nails are now primed and ready to go. So for this set, I'm going to come in with the rubber base coat in 01. We are doing a milky, glittery French design. So because I'm going to be using Snowflaze from the Easy Build Up Gel, which is a milky white, I find it easiest to come in with a milky white base coat to begin with. A lot of the time lately, though, I have been using the fiber base coat, which I'm really loving. So you do have a few options when it comes to what base coat you're going to use. The rubber base coats are brilliant for anybody with weak or brittle nails or anyone wanting to try and grow out their nails, and then the fiber base coat is kind of like a next level up in strength as well. So have a little bit of a think. They're my two go-to base coats that I personally use, but have a little think about which one will work for you and the particular design you're doing. For this particular set, because I know I want that milky white effect, I'm just going to come in with this one purely based on the color. The rubber base coats and the fibre base coats both work absolutely brilliantly with the Kiki London Easy Build Up Gel system as well. They would be the two that I would recommend to use with it. I really like to scrub this into the nail. So what I do is I apply my brush ever so slightly back from the cuticle area, start scrubbing that product in and then working up and around that cuticle area, just getting a nice neat application. Then as I said, we're going to be using the Easy Build Up Gel in Snow Glaze. So that is what I have here. The colour of this is very similar to the rubber base coat 01. It's a really soft milky white. So what I'm going to do for this particular design, I want to set down some glitter. So I'm going to come in on all of the nails and apply a thin layer of this. So I apply it very similar to how I would apply my gel polish when I'm working with it like this. I release the brush roughly 3/4 of the way down the nail. This allows a lot of the product to come off of your brush so that when you're moving up and working around the cuticle area, you haven't got loads left on your brush. So you'll see here that's that's what I've done, and then I'm slowly working my way up towards that cuticle area, getting a nice neat cuticle line. I really love the consistency of this easy build up gel. It's more of a medium viscosity, so it's not going to run everywhere, it's not going to start running into your cuticles, but then it's not too thick. That is tricky to work with when you want to do thinner layers. So here again, I'm keeping this first layer quite thin because I just want to use this layer to set down some glitter, and I'm going to build up a lot of the strength and structure with my second layer of gel. We're not going to need a super thick set of nails because we're just doing a short builder gel overlay, so that's why I'm also trying to keep this layer nice and thin as well. It can get a little bit tricky when you're working on smaller nails like your little finger, or if you're working on small nail beds, so just be really careful and start off with less product on your brush, because then you'll have more control. You will also see I capped the tips of my nail with each layer that I do as well. I'll talk a little bit more about that on the next layer. Now we're going to take the new Kiki London fan brush. So the fan brush is brilliant for doing nail art if you want to do any kind of fan nail art designs, but it's also amazing for applying glitters because I find it picks them up a lot easier than what it has done when I've tried to pick up my round or my ombre brush. With the round brush, I find I pick up too much glitter, and with the ombre brush, I find it a little bit too hard to control where I want the glitters to go. So the fan brush has been a brilliant addition to the Kiki London brush range. As you see, I started off by applying just a tiny amount of the clear base coat, just so that the brush was ever so slightly sticky, so it's going to pick up those glitters nice and easily. And then all I'm doing is dipping into that raw glitter. It picks up a nice amount. You can control where on the brush you want those glitters to be picked up, and then I'm just placing them down at the cuticle area. So that layer of builder gel that we applied is still wet, so the glitters are going to stick nicely in it. And what I found as well about this brush is it helped me apply a nice thin layer of glitter without the glitters layering up too much. And all I'm basically doing to start off with is placing them down around that cuticle area. The fact that the fan brush is rounded really helps for cuticle application with glitter as well. And then all I'm doing is, as you can see, with the edges of the brush, I haven't picked up too much glitter on the edges. I didn't apply the base coat on the edges, so that means with the edges of the brush I'm able to help move the pieces down into like a glitter fade, so you have an area that you've kept clean of glitter basically. And then I'm just nudging those glitter pieces around using the sides of the brush just until I'm happy with how they fade out. We're not keeping these as a full-on glitter fade. We are going to be coming over them with the snow glaze, so it's going to look a bit more of a milky hidden glitter fade, but you do still want to make sure you fade those glitters out so there's not a harsh line where they end. And I thought this colour looked super pretty over the snow glaze base. Now here, before curing, I'm just taking my angled nail art brush. I've wiped this over one of the Kiki London alcohol pads just so it's ever so slightly damp, and then I'm just using this to clean up any glitter that's gone on the skin or the cuticles. And then we're going to pop this first layer in to cure for a full 60 seconds. And then this looks really pretty. If you wanted to keep it as a simple glitter fade like this, you could come in and encapsulate with your Kiki London Crystal Clear. That would be if you wanted those glitters to really pop. I wanted to go for this softened hidden glitter look, so that's why I'm effectively doing all of my encapsulation with the snow glaze. So we're starting off with a thin slip layer. So the slip layer of gel is going to cover the entire nail. We're making sure to get a really nice neat cuticle area here. We're making sure not to get any on the skin or the sidewalls. And I'm also making sure that it gets all around those glitter pieces. Keeping this layer wet, I'm then going to come in with my thicker builder gel layer. So what I'm doing is, as I'm pulling that product out of the bottle, I'm keeping a lot of it on the very tip of the brush, and then that thicker ball of gel, I'm placing it down in the back third of the nail, working it up ever so slightly towards the cuticle, but then mainly focusing this ball of gel on building up the rest of the nail. And you can see, like I said on the previous part of this step, I capped the free edge, so I'm really coming around the free edge with that gel just to make sure that I'm building up the free edge a little bit, because that's where I get a lot of breakages, and this also means I can file a nice shape in easily as well. Then before curing, I'm just coming over the nail, working the gel in any areas that I want a little bit more thickness. So I'm just using my brush to maneuver that around. I find this gel really easy to move into place. I did touch my cuticle ever so slightly when I was working up in that area, so I'm just going to make sure I remove that with a little bit of alcohol and the angled nail art brush before curing. If you do get any products on your skin or your cuticles, you do need to make sure you remove it before curing. So I did all of that first now in real time, just so you could see how quick or how slow I'm working with the product. I have sped the rest of this part of the steps up just so we don't end up with a super long video. But again, coming in first of all always with that wet slip layer, because then your builder gel layer has your wet layer underneath, so it removes a lot easier. Your slip layer is going to tell your builder gel layer where to go basically, so that's why you need to be really careful not to get that slip layer on the skin or the cuticles, because then you're less likely to get your builder layer on the skin and cuticles. Now with the builder gel layer, I'm focusing a lot of that product in the center of the nail. We don't need to build up a huge or thick apex because these are really short nails. If you are extending the natural nail, or you've applied tips and or even if you're working on longer natural nails, you will need to build up a little bit more of an apex to have that strength and structure there. But because we're working on quite short nails, I'm not stressing about building up too much thickness. I want a little bit of thickness for the strength, and I also need to have a little bit of thickness to encapsulate those glitters, but we don't want to end up with a too thick or bulky nail. Now, if like me, you are coming towards the end of your bottle of gel, you need to just turn it on its side, roll it a little bit rather than shaking it to get your product out. So that's just what I was doing there. If you turn the bottle on its side and just roll it a little bit, you're able to pick up your gel really easily. Avoid shaking your builder gels because this puts bubbles in them, and then that means when you pick up your gel, you're adding bubbles in onto the nail, which we don't want. Also, you can get bubbles in your gel if you apply it too quickly, so think about how you're working with your brush. You don't want to work too fast. Also here you'll see as well, if I'm not 100% happy with my application, I will hold my hand upside down, and this helps self-level everything out. I do find that this particular gel self-levels very easily, so you only need a few seconds holding your nail upside down, and then that's going to pull the builder gel into the center of the nail and help build that ever so slight apex that we're trying to create. Now here I'm working on the little finger, which again can be a little bit tricky, so I like to only take a small amount of gel and more work with the side and the tip of the brush. Again, always capping that free edge because I want to be able to file a nice shape in, and I also want to make sure I've got enough thickness there that it's not going to break, because I'm having quite a bit of luck actually growing my nails out recently. I've not had any breakages in a little while, minus a little bit damage on my thumb, which was from shutting my finger in a door, which I seem to do on a regular basis. So this is what the nails look like once we have cured all of that builder gel layer. I really love this effect. I'm really a huge lover of the whole milky look nails. So Snowflaze has been one of my most used colours out of the Easy Build Up Gel range. Now that we have got this layer cured, I'm going to take one of the alcohol wipes and wipe away the tacky inhibition layer. Now if you're coming straight in with your top coat, you can skip this step and come straight in with any gel polish design or top coat. I want to give the nails an ever so slightly buff, so that's why I'm removing that tacky inhibition layer, and I want to file my shape a little bit more as well, just to perfect everything. So taking the 100 grit side of my buffer, I'm just going over the surface of the nails. This is going to smooth out any kind of unevenness in your application. You can do this with your file, but with the Easy Build Up Gel, when I'm working on natural length nails and I haven't applied a lot of thickness, I personally find it a lot easier to do it with my buffer rather than my file. The Easy Build Up Gel files down quite quickly, so it's really easy to remove, which you don't want to do when you've only just done your nails. So I personally just come in with the 100 grit side of the buffer and smooth everything out. If, like I said, your application is not perfect, if you're a beginner or if you're working on longer length nails, then I use the 180 grit side of the file. You will see that in other videos that I've done, but for this particular set I didn't need to smooth anything out too much, so the buffer did the job. As you can see, they are now nice and dusty, so we're going to come back in with that dusty brush and give them a good clean. Although this is a really soft brush, it cleans away the dust really easily, so it feels nice and gentle on your skin and nails. but it still does a brilliant job of removing all of the dust. Now I want to crisp up that free edge a little bit more. I want to get a nice round shape. So taking the 180 grit side of the Kiki London file, I'm just perfecting the shape. Now, like I said at the start of the video, we did some shaping, so there's not too much to do, but we're just making sure they're nice and crisp. I want to make sure there's a nice round uniform shape. So I'm trying my best to get all of the nails matching. Now, when I'm doing my filing, I like to use the length of the file. So we're doing quite long sweeps. I find this way a lot quicker when it comes to filing and a lot nicer at getting a nice smooth edge to the tip of the nail. Again, we're going to come in and clean away all of the dust again. And then because I'm going to be coming in with some gel polish nail art, I'm going to give them a good scrub with a little bit of alcohol as well, just so they are nice and matte and we have removed all of the dust. For our nail art, I'm going to be using this gorgeous colour from the Neon range. This is Me Lava, and as you can see, it's a beautiful neon orange. This orange is so bright. It's one of my favourite colours for the summer. And of course, for our nail art, we had to have a little bit of French because I'm loving the new French brush. Now this brush is really brilliant to work with for creating a French tip. I have done a couple of designs with it and they've all been on longer nails, and I had a couple of people on Instagram ask me what it was like to work on short nails with it. So I had done a little bit of a play around, but I hadn't done a video on short nails, so I thought this would be the perfect time. Now it is a little bit trickier to do shorter nails. I personally find anything on short nails harder than on longer nails, but it is a lot easier than doing a French with the stripe liner brush. So all I've done is I've loaded up the brush with a fair amount of gel polish. Usually with nail art brushes I use less gel polish, but with this one I find it works better if you use the same amount of gel polish as you would if you was doing a full coat of colour with your bottle brush. So you can see I've got a decent amount of gel polish down on the brush, and then what I'm doing is I'm kind of like just stamping it down where I want that French smile line to be. So we'll do it on this now, just placing it down and then pulling back ever so slightly. I'm not really using it like a brush, if that makes sense. I'm just lining it up, pressing down, switching, flicking, doing the exact opposite on the other side, so you get that nice uniform smile line. If you use the brush, the shape of the brush, you're able to always get that same uniform smile line on all of the nails. You just need to bear in mind how far down you're going, and it kind of all just works. It's really hard to describe, but it is literally a two-stroke French. So literally one side, flip your brush over and do the other side. It was a little bit tricky on my little finger because it's a very small nail bed, but if you work with the brush and allow it to do its job, it's really easy to do. I can't really describe what I'm doing because it's really simple. It is just that little bit trickier on short nails because you've got the skin around the nails to bear in mind. What I would normally recommend doing if I'm working on someone else is using one hand to pull back the skin a little bit, and then the other hand that you've got your brush in, it's a lot easier to get a nice neat smile line. On to the second coat of colour. This is completely optional. This colour is quite bright and doesn't necessarily need a second coat, but I really wanted it to pop over that milky white base. So I'm coming in and doing exactly the same to do a second coat. So all we're literally doing is placing down that brush and ever so gently flicking it down because we are only wanting a really short tip, French tip. I'm using my gloves to clean up any that I get on the skin. Of course, you should avoid trying to get any on your skin, but it is a little bit tricky when working on yourself because you haven't got that extra hand to pull and hold the skin back. But like I said, just make sure you remove any gel polish you do get on the skin straight away, either with a lint-free pad or some alcohol. And how pretty does this tip look? I loved this bright French tip. I thought it looked super cute. So I've popped that into Cure. I do love how it looks with the milky matte base, but I do come in and fully top coat all of these nails. So I'm going to take the Kiki London No Wipe top coat and just apply a thin layer of this to all of the nails to seal everything in and leave us with that gorgeous shine. I do love how this brings the glitter back to life, and I love how well this colour worked with this particular orange glitter as well. You do only need a thin coat of your top coat, so just make sure you're applying your application, keeping your application, sorry, nice and thin and nice and even. It's going to seal everything in and, like I said, give us that gorgeous shine. Once I have finished applying the top coat, I do pop this into cure for 30 seconds. Majority of the Kiki London products do only require a 30-second cure, and then I do always allow my top coat a minute or two to cool down. It's not exactly hot when it comes out of the lamp, but sometimes it can feel warm, so I allow it to cool before I come in and apply my cuticle oil. I do sometimes find if I apply my cuticle oil too early, if I apply it like as soon as the nails have come out the lamp, it does dull the shine. So I always like to just give it 30 seconds to cool before applying my cuticle oil. And for my cuticle oil today, I've got the gorgeous Coconut Escape. I love this one especially. It makes me feel a bit like a holiday vibe just because of that beautiful coconut smell. So I just pop a drop of this on to all of my nails, really massage and rub it in. It leaves such a luxurious feel, so it's a perfect finish to any kind of manicure that you're doing. Also, don't forget to apply your cuticle oil twice daily once you have your nails done. And this is what the finished result looks like. Now, before I take my photos, I do like to just rub over the nails with a lint-free pad just to remove the cuticle oil from my nails, so it leaves all the skin nice and nourished, but with the nails not too oily, ready for my photos. And then that, guys, is the end of the video. As always, I have left all the products I've used listed in the description box below, as well as a link to the Kiki London website, so do check out the description box. If you did enjoy today's video, please do give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment below, and don't forget to hit that subscription button if you're not already subscribed. And then I shall see you all again next Friday. I hope you all have a lovely weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Lots of love. Bye bye.